Hello, what's up everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka ReviewKingMB, and I don't know if anybody was asking for me to do this, but I feel compelled. I want to do a spoiler talk, a spoiler review for Wonder Woman because, well, yes, I loved it so much, but there are also some things about the movie that I want to be able to put out there in the universe from my point of view. So first, let's talk about the good. The good is that Amazon battle towards the beginning of the movie where you see first Chris Pine winds up on Themyscira, which brings in those German soldiers onto the island as well, and they have that big shootout, and the Amazons run up to them, and there's sword fighting everywhere, and Amazons are being killed, soldiers are being killed, and Diana's in the midst of all this, and she's almost having to learn to fight and what this means to go up against people like this. And it looked great. The action was great. Robin Wright, who plays Diana's aunt, who trained her since she was a little girl, really liked her. She was a badass. You almost wish we got more of her in the movie, but of course she had to get killed off for Diana to go off and do what she had to do. Diana seeing what or how the war is handled in England or just in America by men in general, how she just couldn't fathom these men in charge just sending their troops out to be slaughtered, and I loved her reaction to it. I loved that she was so pissed. She got in the guy's face. She was even yelling at Steve Trevor and saying, how can you let him do this? And I liked her emotion. I liked how much this meant to her. I mean, she left her homeland. She left everything that she knew behind because she believed so much in people and that they could be saved. And I love seeing her journey and realizing that not everything's perfect or not everything is black and white, that there are some gray areas there, and she's slowly learning to figure that out and deal with that. Also, the war buddies. There's plenty of parts about this movie that reminds me of a movie like Captain America, the First Avenger. I know that was World War II and this is World War I, but still just the idea of a superhero back in war times. There are themes that just reminded me of it, and the fact that Chris Pine had a group of guys that he could go to and be his group, his buddies. It reminded me of the Howling Commandos. Sure, maybe the Commandos were more you can trust them better. They're a little bit more capable, but I like the dynamic with these guys and how they played their parts and how they meant what they did to Steve Trevor and Diana. Now the bad, again, I gave this movie a better than sex, and I still hold true to a better than sex. It doesn't mean it's perfect. I did have some issues. My first issue, which might make me sound like an asshole, it might, but I did not like the little girl who played young Diana at the very beginning, where you see her and she's running, she wants to be trained, she sees all the Amazons training, and she's up there doing her movements and stuff, and I did not like her. Now, she's young. It's not really her fault. It's probably more of the casting to cast someone like her. I didn't think she was a good actress. Even when she had her dialogue scenes, I was a little annoyed by her. And honestly, those first few minutes, I was like, I can't wait until we get Gal Gadot, or I can't wait until the character gets older, because I just wasn't buying anything that the little girl was doing. And I talked about it in my review that I thought the villains were pretty weak. Dr. Poison and the character that Danny Huston plays, there were scenes where not only were they very generic and just no interesting dimensions to them at all, just very one note. So every time that the movie cut away from Diana and Chris Pine, I was more upset that I just wasn't seeing the more interesting part of the story, the more interesting characters, because they were doing your typical villain deeds. And even the scene where they lock the guys in the room and throw the gas in there, and they're kind of like being a little too over the top, and I wasn't really feeling it. Even though I did like how we're supposed to think that Danny Huston is Ares, and I pretty much bought into that that's how it was, although there was that one scene where we saw the actor David Thewlis. He seemed a little too concerned with them going off to the village before, like, it just there, that one scene made me question, like, wait a minute, what's up with this guy? I didn't think he was Ares, but I did think something was up. So when the reveal comes that this guy is Ares, I did like the bait and switch. I did like how she kills Danny Huston and then nothing changes. At first I thought maybe she was just wrong, and like Chris Pine was saying, war is the way that it is, or people are the way that they are. But then when he comes in as Ares, yeah, maybe he looked a little goofy with just his regular clothes, and he's doing his powerful stuff, but when he actually does put the armor on, it actually does look like the Ares that I remember from the comics. I'm like, okay, this is cool. And the battle that they have is fun. It is cool to see. Sure, I've heard some people say that there's too much CGI there, or maybe the battle goes on for too long. I can maybe see the CGI complaints, but I don't think that the battle goes on too long. I actually wanted to see her have, this is her only straight up battle with somebody on her level, as powerful as she is. All of the other action scenes were just her going up against soldiers and Germans, and that was cool, but this is almost what you want to see in a superhero movie. I know, maybe, who knows, maybe some people are sick of the big superhero fights, and I'm not saying that I don't appreciate a superhero movie that can do something different and can offer something different, but you come to expect Wonder Woman to have a big ass fight battle scene with somebody, and that's what we got with her. The moment when Chris Pine sacrifices himself, he goes into the helicopter and blows up the gas to stop it and kills himself. That was sad. It was. I actually cared a lot that he died and how that affected her. Because even though you got something similar maybe with Peggy Carter and Steve Rogers in the first Avenger, at least she didn't die, and we know that she lived on to have a life. The fact that he dies, and it's like there was no choice there for her, it's like that's what made it hurt the most. And he was so likable, so seeing him go, that also sucked. But sucked in a good way. It was a good character beat. It was like, this movie was just great. I honestly, I have some nitpicky stuff, like I said, the young actress and the two villains, but other than that, I'm not complaining much at all. So guys, let me know in the comments below, hopefully now that you have seen Wonder Woman, if you loved it, if you hated it. Now give me some specific reasons or some specific moments or scenes that you loved, that you disliked. Let's talk about it. Spoiler talk. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later!